My son phoned me yesterday. Mom, I'm getting married tomorrow morning. Oh, and I took all your money from the bank and sold your house. Goodbye. I started laughing so hard. He had no idea that the house he sold was actually nothing. I'm so happy you clicked on this video. Please hit the like button and stay until the very end. Tell me what country you're watching from so I can see how many places my story reaches. My name is Dorothy Chin. I'm 65 years old and I've lived through more drama than any soap opera on television. For 40 years I built my life one small step at a time. I lived in a tiny 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood in Oregon. I worked at the post office sorting mail and helping customers. My days were simple and peaceful. My son Tyler was 36 years old. He always wanted more money and nicer things. Something felt wrong about 2 months before my whole world turned upside down. Tyler called asking me strange questions about my banking information. Mom, I want to help you pay your bills online, he told me sweetly. You're getting old and I worry you might forget to pay something important. I wasn't sure about this, but Tyler was my baby boy. My only kid. His dad left us when Tyler was just 8 years old. I raised him by myself. I worked at 2 different jobs. I gave up so much for him. Surely my own son wouldn't hurt me, right? The next weird thing happened about a month later. Tyler came to visit with his girlfriend Jessica. She was 28 years old. Pretty, but her eyes looked mean and cold. They made me feel uncomfortable. They sat on my old couch. Jessica kept staring at everything in my house. My furniture. My pictures on the walls. The old grandfather clock my mother gave me. This house must be worth a lot of money now, Dorothy, she said. She didn't even call me Mrs. Chen or try to be polite. Houses in this area cost so much these days. This is where I live, I said quietly. I'm not selling it. Tyler laughed and squeezed her hand tight. Course not, Mom. Jessica is just talking. Nothing to worry about. But something in the way he looked at me made my stomach hurt. Then I saw something terrible in my bank statements. Every Sunday morning I drink tea and check my money online. That Sunday in early November, my heart nearly stopped beating. My savings account had $143,000 in it from years and years of saving money. From my husband's insurance money after he died. From never taking vacations or buying myself nice clothes. Now it showed only $800. My checking account was empty except for $47. My hands were shaking as I called the bank on the phone. The lady who answered was very nice. Her name was Jennifer. Mrs. Chen, I see that someone took out money through your online account. The money went to an account that belongs to Tyler Chen. Is that your son? I couldn't say anything. I just hung up the phone. I sat in my kitchen for hours just looking at the wall. How could Tyler do this to me? Why would he steal from his own mother? I gave him everything I had. I worked so hard for him. I gave up my whole life. And this is how he thanks me. My phone rang the next day. It was Tyler. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up the phone. Hey Mom, his voice sounded so happy and excited. Have amazing news. I'm getting married tomorrow. Jessica and I decided we don't want to wait anymore. We're having a big fancy wedding at the Grand Lake Hotel. My throat felt tight and dry. Tyler, what about my bank accounts? Oh yeah, that, he said, and then he actually laughed at me. I took that money, Mom. Jessica and I need it for our wedding and to start our new life together. Don't worry though. You'll be fine. You have your social security check every month. And here's something else I need to tell you. I sold your house yesterday. Remember those papers you signed last year when you had the flu really bad? I had power of attorney so I could sell it. I got $365,000 for it. The sale is finished. You have 1 month to move out and find somewhere else to live. Everything felt like it was spinning around me. You sold my house. Yeah, and I got a great price for it too. That money is going to help Jessica and me buy a fancy apartment downtown in the city. Look, I have to go now. The bakery is calling about our wedding cake. We can talk later after our honeymoon trip. The phone went silent. I sat there holding my phone, feeling like someone had punched me in the chest. Then slowly, something different started growing inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Something cold. Something that made me start to smile. I began laughing. First quiet, then louder and louder until tears ran down my face. Tyler had no clue what he just did. That house he sold, the one he thought was my home worth $365,000. He just made the biggest mistake of his entire life. Because the house Tyler sold wasn't the house I actually lived in at all. It was the rental house I bought 12 years ago. The one I put in my name for tax reasons. The one that currently had renters living in it with a lease that lasted another 20 months. My real house, the one I actually lived in every single day, with no mortgage left to pay, worth almost $550,000, was in a special trust under my dead husband's sister's name. Tyler didn't even know that house existed. Oh, my silly, greedy boy. What have you done? The laughing stopped. What was left behind felt like ice in my bones. I sat at my kitchen table, my real kitchen table, and made myself think clearly. What had I actually lost? The rental house Tyler sold was going to cause him so many legal problems. The buyers would find out that people were living there with a legal lease. Tyler would get sued by the buyers for lying and fraud. He might even go to jail for selling a house he had no right to sell. The stolen money hurt me more. $143,000 was my safety net. My security blanket. My future. That money was supposed to make sure I never had to ask anyone for help. How sad that my own son stole it so I wouldn't be a burden to him. But here's what Tyler didn't understand. I wasn't helpless. I wasn't some confused old lady who would just accept being robbed. I spent 30 years working in legal offices before I got my job at the post office. I understood contracts. I understood property law. I understood fraud. And I had kept perfect records of absolutely everything. I opened my filing cabinet and took out the folder marked Rental Property, Maple Street. Inside were copies of the lease with the Morrison family. Proof of their deposit money. My own deed showing I owned the property. I never gave Tyler power of attorney for anything. Whatever papers he said I signed were either fake or he tricked me. Next I looked at my real estate files. My actual house, the one I was sitting in right now, was titled under the William Chen Family Trust. My husband's sister Margaret set it up 18 years ago. I was the person in charge of the trust and I got all the benefits, but the house wasn't in my personal name. Tyler grew up in this house. But he never understood how the legal ownership worked. When I bought the rental house years later, I kept it simple in my own name for taxes. Tyler must have thought that cheap rental was my only house. I made coffee and started writing a list of what I needed to do. First, call the police about the theft. Second, call the bank's fraud department. Third, hire a lawyer to help me. Fourth, make sure the Morrison family knew what was happening and that they were protected. Fifth, collect all the proof of Tyler's fraud with a house sale. But as I wrote, my hand stopped moving. Did I really want to send my own son to prison? The thought made me want to cry. He was still the little baby I rocked to sleep. The teenager I helped with math homework. The young man I was so proud of when he finished college. Then I remembered how his voice sounded on the phone. Happy. Usual. You'll be fine with your social security check. Like stealing his mother's entire life savings was no big deal. Like making me homeless was just a small problem for me to figure out. What kind of person had I raised? I thought about Jessica with her cold, calculating eyes and her rude comments about money. Did she push him to do this? Or was Tyler always capable of this kind of cruelty and I just refused to see it? My phone buzzed. A text message from my neighbor Karen. Dorothy, I saw a for sale sign at your rental on Maple Street yesterday. Then it disappeared this morning. Is everything okay? Texted back. It's a long story. Can we have coffee tomorrow morning? Karen had been my friend for 12 years. She used to work as a paralegal. I would need friends for what was coming next. That night I barely slept at all. I kept imagining Tyler's face when he figured out what he had done. Would he feel sorry? Would he apologize and beg for forgiveness? Or would he blame me somehow and say I tricked him? By the time the sun came up, I had my plan ready. I wouldn't call the police right away. Instead, I would gather every single piece of evidence. Document every crime. Build a case so strong nobody could deny it. Then I would confront Tyler and give him a choice. Pay back every penny voluntarily or face criminal charges and go to prison. I would give him one chance to do the right thing. One chance to prove he was still my son and not a stranger who laughed while robbing his mother. I called the bank at exactly 9 o'clock in the morning. I need to report fraud and theft from my accounts, I told the man who answered. I also need copies of every transaction for the last 6 months. Of course, Mrs. Chen. I'm very sorry this happened to you. We'll start investigating right away. Next I called Robert Martinez. He was a lawyer who came to my book club meetings. Robert, I need help. My son stole my savings and he lied to sell a house I own. I need a lawyer and I need everything kept secret until I'm ready. There was silence on the phone. Dorothy, this is very serious. How much money are we talking about? $143,000 stolen from my bank. Around $365,000 from a fake property sale. Oh my God. Yes, I'll help you. Come to my office this afternoon. When I hung up, I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. My gray hair was neat. My brown eyes looked determined and strong. I looked like a sweet grandmother. Tyler forgot that sweet grandmothers can be fighters when they need to be. My son wanted to get married today. Fine. Let him have his wedding. Let him think he won and got away with everything. I would wait and gather my strength. And then I would teach him what happens when you betray the woman who gave you life. Robert Martinez had his office in a brick building on Main Street. I sat across from him at his big wooden desk with my folder of papers between us. He read through everything with his eyes getting wider and wider. He kept making notes on his yellow pad. Dorothy, this is even worse than I thought, he said, taking off his glasses. Your son created fake documents to sell property he didn't own. That's not just lying. That's a crime. He could spend 5 to 10 years in prison. I know, I said softly. But I need to know all my choices before I decide what to do. Robert nodded his head. Mark, here's what we do first. Report the fraud to your bank so no more money can be taken. Second, contact the title company that handled the house sale. They need to know the sale was fake. Third, we file a police report. You can ask them to investigate first before pressing charges. That gives you some control over the timing. What about the people who bought the property? They'll probably sue Tyler for fraud when they discover the renters living there. They might also sue the title company for not catching this. Either way, Tyler will owe them the full purchase price plus extra money for damages. Robert sat back in his chair. Dorothy, I have to ask. Are you absolutely sure you want to do this? He's your son. I looked him straight in the eyes. He stole my life savings and tried to make me homeless. What kind of son does that? We spent 2 hours getting documents ready. By the time I left Robert's office, I had filed fraud reports with my bank and the title company. The police report would be filed tomorrow morning. As I walked to my car, my phone rang. It was Tyler. Mom, why is the bank calling me about a fraud investigation? What's happening? I took a deep breath and kept my voice steady. Tyler, the bank noticed the money taken from my account looked suspicious. It's just their normal procedure when large amounts get transferred. But I'm your son. Just tell them it's okay and it's fine. Is it fine, Tyler? You took $143,000 without asking me. That's not asking for help. That's stealing. His voice changed and got harder. I didn't steal anything. Borrowed it. Jessica and I will pay you back once we're settled into our new place. He sounded defensive now. Caught in his lie. And selling the house was completely legal. I had power of attorney papers. Tyler, I never signed any power of attorney papers. Long silence. Then yes you did. Last year. Remember when you were really sick with pneumonia? I brought them to the hospital for you to sign. My blood turned cold. I was sick last year. I was in the hospital for 5 days with terrible pneumonia. I barely remember anything from that time. Fever. The medicine. Being so tired. Did Tyler take advantage of me being sick to trick me into signing papers I didn't understand? I need to see those papers right now, I said. Mom, stop being so difficult about everything. It's all legal. Just call the bank and tell them to stop the investigation. His voice changed to begging. Please. The wedding is today. I don't need this stress right now. You should have thought about that before you robbed your mother. I hung up before he could say anything else. That evening, Karen came over with wine and sympathy. I told her the whole story. I watched her face go from shocked to angry. That absolute jerk, she said. Dorothy, you know I'll help with whatever you need. Testimony. Yes, sir. Anything at all. Thank you, I said, feeling grateful for real friendship. Actually, I do need something. Can you help me call the Morrison family? They need to know what's happening with the rental house. We called them together. Mr. Morrison answered. His voice sounded worried. Mrs. Chen, is something wrong? I explained what happened as gently as I could. There was a long pause on the phone. So your son sold the house we're living in without telling you or us? Mr. Morrison's voice was shocked. What happens to our lease agreement? Your lease is still good and legal, I promised him. I'm working with my lawyer to fix everything. You're protected. But I wanted you to know in case the buyers try to contact you. Jesus Christ. Thank you for telling us. Let us know if you need anything from us. Statements. Testimony. Whatever helps. After we hung up, Karen poured us both more wine. Tyler has no idea what's coming for him, does he? No, I said. He thinks I'm just a confused old woman he can manipulate and control. The next morning I got an email from the title company. My hands shook as I read it. Mrs. Chen, our investigation found serious problems with the sale of 1247 Maple Street. The power of attorney document your son submitted appears to have your signature, but the notary stamp is from a notary whose license expired. Also, the document is dated when you were in the hospital, but our records show the notary was in a different state that day. We believe this is forgery and fraud. We have frozen all money from the sale until the investigation is complete. The buyers have been told and are taking legal action against Tyler Chen. I forwarded the email to Robert Martinez with one sentence. He faked everything. This was the proof I needed. Tyler didn't just make bad choices. He committed calculated, planned fraud. He brought fake documents to my hospital bed. Maybe got me to sign blank papers while I was delirious and sick. Then had them fake notarized later. My phone buzzed with another text from Tyler. Mom, we need to talk now. Can you please come to the wedding today? I want you there with me. I stared at the message. He wanted me at his wedding. The wedding paid for with my stolen money. The wedding happening while I dealt with the disaster of his crimes. I typed back, I'll be there. Let him think everything was okay. Let him marry his scheming bride. Celebrate with my money. Believe he escaped punishment. I would smile for photos. Act like the proud mother. And then when he least expected it, I would show him the consequences of betraying the woman who sacrificed everything for him. The wedding was exactly what I expected. Expensive. Big. The Grand Lake Hotel sparkled with white roses everywhere and crystal lights hanging from the ceiling. I wore my nicest dress. Navy blue. Elegant. Classy. Got there early. Jessica looked beautiful in a wedding dress that probably cost $8,000. My $8,000. Tyler stood next to her in his fancy tuxedo, smiling like he had no problems in the world. When he saw me walk in, he rushed over fast. Mom, you actually came. He hugged me so tight. I'm so glad you're here. I know things have been strange lately, but this is a new beginning for everyone. I pulled back and looked at his face. Did he really believe that? Did he think stealing from me was just strange and not criminal? Congratulations, Tyler, I said with no emotion. You look very happy. Jessica walked over with her sharp smile. Dorothy, so nice that you came. Tyler was worried you'd be upset about, well, you know, the money and the house. But it's really all for the best. You don't need that big house anymore. And Tyler and I can build our future together now. How very thoughtful of you both, I said. My voice was pleasant, but my eyes were ice cold. The ceremony didn't last long. I sat in the front row watching my son promise to love and cherish this woman who helped him betray his own mother. During the party afterward, I smiled politely, drank champagne that tasted like nothing, took photos I would burn later. Then right as they were cutting the cake, my phone buzzed. A text from Robert Martinez. Police investigation opened. Fraud charges being prepared. Ready to move forward. I looked at Tyler laughing with his groomsmen. Completely unaware of what was coming. Not yet, I thought to myself. Let him enjoy this moment. It would be his last happy one for a very long time. The big confrontation happened 3 days after the wedding. Tyler and Jessica showed up at my door without calling first. Tyler looked furious. Jessica's face was cold and mean. "What the hell did you do?" Tyler yelled, pushing past me into my living room. "The title company froze all the money from the house sale. They're saying the power of attorney papers were fake. They're threatening criminal charges." I closed the door calmly. "Maybe because they were fake." "You signed those papers," he shouted. "I signed blank papers while I was sick with high fever. I didn't know what they were. You took advantage of your sick mother." Kept my voice calm and steady. "You also had them fake notarized." Jessica stepped forward with her arms crossed. "This is ridiculous, Dorothy. Tyler was helping you. You're old. You can't handle your money or your property anymore. We were doing you a favor. By stealing my life savings." "It's not stealing if you're too old and confused to manage it yourself," she snapped. Her mask fell away, showing the cold opportunist underneath. "Tyler is your son. Everything you have should go to him eventually anyway. We just needed it sooner." "I see," I said quietly. "So this was your plan from the beginning. Find a man with money. Manipulate him into stealing from his mother. Then build your life on her money." Tyler's face turned red. "Don't talk about Jessica like that. She loves me." "She loves your inheritance," I corrected him. "Or what she thought was your inheritance." Jessica laughed. It was harsh and ugly. "You think you're so smart. You're going to drop these accusations or we'll destroy your life. We'll tell everyone you have dementia. We'll have you declared incompetent. We'll put you in a nursing home." "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise," Tyler said. His voice was low and threatening. "Mom, I'm trying to be nice here. Just tell the bank and the title company you made a mistake. Tell them you said yes to everything. Then we can all move forward." "And if I don't?" Tyler moved closer, standing over me. "Then you'll see just how difficult your life can get. We have lawyers too. We'll keep you in court for years. We'll take whatever money you have left in legal fees. We'll make sure everyone knows you're a confused old woman who can't remember what she signed." For a moment, real fear went through me. Not because of their threats. I had evidence. But because of what my son had become. This angry, threatening man was a complete stranger. But I survived 40 years alone by being strong. "Get out of my house," I said. My voice was like steel. "Both of you. Right now. Get out." The force in my voice surprised even me. "You have 5 seconds before I call the police." They left. Jessica was cursing and swearing. Tyler's face was twisted with rage. As their car drove away, I sat down hard on my couch. My hands were shaking. The mask was completely off now. I knew exactly who I was dealing with. I called Robert the next morning. "File the police report immediately. Press full charges. I want them prosecuted as far as the law allows." "Are you absolutely sure?" "Completely sure." "Do it." For the next week, I did nothing but rest. I read books, worked in my garden, had lunch with Karen. I needed to recover my strength, both physical and emotional. The confrontation had shaken me more than I wanted to admit. But as I watered my flowers and felt warm sunshine on my face, I felt something else growing inside me. Cold, absolute determination. Tyler and Jessica made their choice. Now they would face what came next. A week after our fight, Tyler called again. His voice was completely different. Softer. Almost like a little boy. The voice he used when he was young and wanted something. "Mom, can we please talk?" I thought about hanging up. Instead I said, "I'm listening. I've been thinking so much about everything. About what I did," he said, then paused. I could hear real emotion in his voice. Or was he just acting? "I was wrong, Mom. I see that now so clearly. I let Jessica get in my head. I let the stress of wedding planning make me crazy. But you're my mother. I should never have. His voice cracked and broke. I'm so sorry, Mom. Please, can we fix this? Part of me, the part that remembered holding him as a baby, teaching him to ride a bike, cheering at his school graduations, wanted to believe him. Wanted to forgive him right away. Make everything okay again. But I learned my lesson about blind trust. What exactly are you proposing, Tyler? I'll give back the money. Every single penny of it. Jessica and I will take out a loan if we have to. And the house situation, I'll fix it. I'll make sure the buyers don't sue me. I'll handle everything myself. He was talking fast now. Desperate and urgent. Just please drop the police investigation. I can't have a criminal record, Mom. It'll ruin my career. My entire life. You should have thought about that before you committed fraud, I said. No. And I'm sorry. But please give me one chance to make this right. Don't destroy my whole life over one mistake. One mistake. Like robbing your mother was the same as forgetting her birthday. How long will it take you to return the money? Asked him. Maybe 6 months. A year at the most. We just need time to get a loan approved. Tyler, you don't have 6 months. The investigation is already happening. His voice changed again. Became desperate and panicked. Then what do you want? Just tell me what you want from me. What I wanted was my son back. The real Tyler. The one who existed before Jessica. Before greed poisoned him. But that person might never have existed at all. I want full payment within 30 days, I said firmly. Every dollar you took plus interest. I want a written confession of everything you did. I want you to face the consequences of your actions. That's impossible, he said. We can't get that much money in 30 days. You're being completely unreasonable. Then you should have thought of that before you stole it from me. God, you're so heartless, he said. Desperation turned into anger. I'm your son. Your only child. How can you do this to me? How could you do what you did to me? I asked quietly. Goodbye, Tyler. I hung up and turned my phone completely off. That afternoon, Jessica came by herself. I watched from my window as she got out of her car. She wore an expensive cream suit. She rang the doorbell 4 times before I finally answered. Dorothy, we need to talk. Woman to woman. Her smile was strained and fake, trying to look warm. Can I come inside? Well, talk from the porch. Her jaw got tight, but she kept her fake composure. Look, I know you think I'm some gold digger who manipulated your son. But I love Tyler. I really truly do. And I'm trying to save him from this disaster. Save him by convincing me to drop the charges. By making you see reason, she said. Her mask slipped just a little bit. Do you understand what criminal charges will do to him? To his career? To our future together? Yes, I said. That's exactly why the charges need to be filed. Jessica stared at me, then laughed. Cold, bitter sound. You know what? Tyler was right about you. You're a selfish, bitter old woman who can't stand seeing her son happy. You're so lonely and miserable that you want to drag him down with you. Are you finished? You'll regret this, she hissed at me. When Tyler is sitting in a prison cell, when your relationship is destroyed forever, you'll realize you chose money over your own son. You'll die alone and it'll be your own fault. Goodbye, Jessica. I closed the door on her angry, hateful face. That evening, Karen came over. She brought her husband Mike and 2 other couples from our book club, the Rodriguez family and the Patel family. They brought food and wine and something more valuable, support and solidarity. We heard what's been happening, Karen said, hugging me tight. We wanted you to know you're not alone in this. We sat in my living room and I told them absolutely everything. Not just the facts and details, but the pain, the betrayal, the guilt of prosecuting my own son. They listened without judging me at all. You're doing the right thing, Mike said firmly. What Tyler did was criminal. Crime. If you let him get away with it, you're teaching him he can betray anyone without facing consequences. Maria Rodriguez nodded her head in agreement. My brother stole from our mother years ago. She forgave him and didn't press charges. He did it again 5 years later. Took even more money. Some people only learn through real consequences. Their support felt like a warm blanket wrapped around me. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't heartless. I was a woman protecting herself from someone who proved he couldn't be trusted, even if that someone was my son. As they left that night, Karen squeezed my hand tight. Stay strong, Dorothy. You're doing the hard thing. But it's the right thing. I went to bed that night feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Cold hard peace. Tyler and Jessica tried manipulation first. Then threats. Then guilt. None of it worked because I had something they didn't understand. Principles. Self-respect. And friends who reminded me of my worth. The next morning I called Robert Martinez. No deals. No compromises. We move forward with full prosecution. Understood, he said. Dorothy, for what it's worth, I think you're incredibly brave. Doing what you're doing takes real courage. Brave or broken. I wasn't sure which one I was. But I knew I wouldn't back down now. Not after they showed me so clearly who they really were. They came together this time. On a quiet Sunday morning when the neighborhood was peaceful and calm, I saw them through my window. Tyler and Jessica walking up my driveway with slow, careful steps. Tyler carried flowers in his hands. Jessica had a bakery box. Peace offerings. Gifts to manipulate me. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity made me do it. What new plan had they come up with? Mom, Tyler's voice was gentle and soft. His eyes were red like he'd been crying for days. Please, just give us 5 minutes. That's all we're asking for. Against my better judgment, I let them come inside. We sat in my living room. Them on the couch. Me in my armchair. Keeping distance between us. Tyler put the flowers on my coffee table. My favorite flowers. Of course he remembered that. Mom, we were wrong, Tyler started. About everything. The way we talked to you. The things we said. It was completely unforgivable. He leaned forward. His face looked earnest and sincere. These past 2 weeks, I haven't slept at all. I keep thinking about what I did. About how badly I hurt you. You're my mother. You raised me alone and by yourself. You gave me everything. And I repaid you with betrayal. It was exactly what I wanted to hear from him. So why did it feel like a performance? Like he was reading from a script. Jessica spoke next. Her voice was quiet and subdued. Dorothy, I owe you an apology too. Big one. I was terrible to you. I said cruel, horrible things. The truth is, she said, looking down at her hands, I was scared. Really scared. My own parents are very poor. I grew up with absolutely nothing. When I met Tyler, I saw a chance at a better life. And I pushed way too hard. I pushed him to do things he shouldn't have done. Things you convinced him to do. I asked quietly. Yes, she admitted, meeting my eyes directly. It was my idea. The money. The house. All of it. Tyler didn't want to do it at first. I'm the one who persuaded him. I told him you wouldn't miss the money. That you'd want him to be happy. Her voice cracked and broke. I was wrong about everything. I'm so sorry. Tyler reached for my hand. I didn't pull it away. Mom, we want to make this right. We really do. We're willing to do whatever it takes. We've already taken out a second mortgage on the apartment we bought. We can give you $110,000 within 2 weeks. The rest will take more time, but we'll pay back every single penny. With interest, Jessica added quickly. Whatever you think is fair. We'll pay it. And the criminal charges. Ask them. Tyler's face fell and looked sad. That's the thing, Mom. If I have a criminal record, I'll lose my job immediately. I work in finance and banking. They'll fire me right away. And then how can I pay you back? How can I support a family and our future? He squeezed my hand tighter. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't deserve that at all. But I'm begging you to give me a chance to fix this without destroying my entire future. Please, Dorothy, Jessica said. Her voice was soft and pleading. We want to have children someday. Tyler wants to give you grandchildren. Beautiful grandchildren. But he can't do that from prison. He can't be a good father from behind bars. Grandchildren. The word hit me like a punch to the stomach. I had dreamed about being a grandmother for years, holding Tyler's babies, reading them stories, passing on our family history and traditions. They knew exactly where to hit me, where it would hurt most. Think about it carefully, Tyler pressed forward. Do you really want your grandchildren visiting their father in prison? Do you want them growing up knowing their grandmother put their father in jail? Send him away. I studied both of them carefully. The performance was very good. Very believable. Tyler's tears looked genuine and real. Jessica's remorse seemed heartfelt and true. They had clearly rehearsed this whole thing. Practiced every word. But I noticed small details. The way Jessica kept looking at her watch. Checking the time. The way Tyler's grip on my hand got tighter when I didn't respond immediately. The tension in their shoulders. Coiled tight like springs ready to snap. What happens if I say no? I asked them softly. The change was instant and dramatic. Tyler's expression got hard like stone. Jessica sat back with her arms crossed tight. Then you're choosing to destroy your son, Tyler said flatly. His voice was cold and emotionless. And for what? Money you don't even need. You have your precious house. Your comfortable life. You're taking away mine just out of spite. Pure revenge. It's not spite, I said. It's justice. It's what's right. Justice. Jessica laughed. The sound was harsh and ugly. You want to talk about justice? What about fairness? Tyler is your only child. Everything you have will go to him when you die anyway. That's how it works. We just needed it earlier. That's all. Sooner than later. So you're saying I should have died sooner. Made things more convenient for you both. Don't twist my words around. Jessica snapped at me. I'm saying you're a vindictive, bitter old hag who can't stand seeing her son happy with someone who isn't you. Someone else. Tyler didn't defend me. Didn't say a word. He just watched and waited to see if this approach would work. If being mean would succeed where being kind had failed. I stood up slowly from my chair. Get out of my house right now. Get out. My voice shook with rage and fury. You come into my home with your fake tears and your manipulations. Trying to guilt me into letting you rob me without any consequences. You think I don't see exactly what you're doing? Tyler stood up fast. His face flushed bright red with anger. You're going to regret this decision. When I'm sitting in a prison cell, when Jessica leaves me because I can't provide for her, when you're alone on every single holiday for the rest of your life, remember that you chose this. You made this happen. I didn't choose this, I said coldly. You did. The day you decided to steal from your mother. The day you decided money was more important than family. Jessica grabbed Tyler's arm hard. Let's go. Let's get out of here. She's not worth it. Not worth our time. Let her rot alone in this house with her precious money. They stormed out fast, slamming the door so hard behind them. I stood in my living room, trembling and shaking. Not from fear. From pure fury and rage. They had tried absolutely everything. Apologies. Manipulation. Guilt. Threat. They offered me grandchildren like a bargaining chip. Trade. As if I would sacrifice my self-respect for hypothetical babies that might never exist. But underneath all the anger, I felt something else. A small cold thread of real fear. What if Tyler was right about this? What if I was destroying him and his future? What if years from now I would look back and regret this choice? Regret being so hard? I pushed those thoughts away firmly. Out of my mind. I had seen behind their masks today. Seen the calculation, the manipulation, the complete total lack of genuine remorse. They weren't sorry they hurt me. They were only sorry they got caught. I picked up the daisies Tyler brought me and threw them in the trash can. Then I called Robert Martinez on the phone. They just tried to manipulate me into dropping all the charges, I told him. They offered partial payment in exchange for no prosecution. No jail time. What did you tell them? I told them to get out of my house immediately. There was a pause, then Robert's warm chuckle. Good for you, Dorothy. That took real strength and courage. Strength. Was that what this was? Or was it stubbornness? Pride? Vengeance and revenge? I didn't know anymore. But I knew I couldn't back down now. Not when they showed me so clearly who they really were deep down. That night I lay awake in bed. Tyler's words kept echoing in my mind, playing over and over. You're going to regret this. Maybe I would regret it someday. But I would regret betraying myself even more. Losing my self-respect. The court date finally arrived 6 weeks later. Robert had prepared me for absolutely everything. Process. Questions. The likelihood of Tyler accepting a plea deal to avoid trial. But Tyler, stubborn and delusional, had refused completely. He insisted on fighting all the charges, convinced that a jury would side with a son over his vindictive mother. His mean old mom. I wore a simple gray suit with minimal makeup. Robert had told me to look sympathetic but strong. You're not a victim, he said firmly. You're a survivor. Someone who survived. The courthouse was cold. Fluorescent lights reflected off shiny polished floors. I sat behind the prosecution table. My hands folded calmly in my lap. Tyler sat across the aisle with Jessica and his lawyer. A sharp-suited man named David Park who specialized in defending white-collar criminals. When Tyler's eyes met mine, I saw something I hadn't expected to see. Genuine fear in his eyes. Real terror. But he was beginning to understand that this was real. Not a game. The prosecutor was a stern, serious woman named Michelle Torres. She had built an overwhelming, undeniable case against Tyler. Bank records showing the unauthorized transfers of money. Testimony from the title company about the forged power of attorney papers. Expert analysis of the fraudulent notarization. The Morrison family's testimony about the illegal property sale. Tyler's defense strategy became very clear very quickly. Paint me as confused and vindictive. Claim he acted with my permission and my blessing. Suggest that I was now simply having regrets and second thoughts about helping my son. Park stood up for his opening statement to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a case about family misunderstanding and buyer's remorse. Regret. Dorothy Chen gave her son Tyler access to her bank accounts and authorized him to handle her property affairs. Why did she do this? Because she's 65 years old, living alone, and she needed help managing her finances and her properties. Tyler didn't steal from his mother. He acted with her complete blessing and permission. But now, influenced by outside parties and suffering from what we will demonstrate is age-related confusion, Mrs. Chen has rewritten history, changed the story, to portray herself as a victim. I felt rage simmer and boil in my chest. But I kept my face neutral and calm. The trial proceeded slowly and methodically. Michelle called witness after witness, building her case brick by brick, piece by piece. The bank representative testified that I had called immediately upon discovering the missing funds. I was distraught, confused, and upset. The title company representative explained in detail the fraudulent documents Tyler submitted. The handwriting expert showed the jury how my signature on the power of attorney papers didn't match my normal signature at all. It was shaky, uncertain, wobbly, consistent with someone signing under duress or pressure, or while seriously ill with high fever. Then came my testimony, my turn to speak. I took the stand, placed my hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the whole truth. Michelle guided me through my story gently but firmly. Carefully, I explained my relationship with Tyler, my pride in raising him alone by myself, my complete devastation at discovering his betrayal. Mrs. Chen, Michelle asked me clearly, "Did you give Tyler permission to withdraw $143,000 from your savings account?" "No," I said clearly and loudly. "Never. Not once." "Did you give him permission to sell your rental property?" "No." "That property generates rental income that supplements my retirement, my social security. I would never authorize its sale. Ever." "Did you sign power of attorney papers giving Tyler control over your finances and properties?" "Not knowingly," I said. "I was hospitalized with severe pneumonia. My fever reached 104 degrees. I was delirious. Tyler brought papers to my hospital bed. He told me they were insurance forms. Simple paperwork. I was barely conscious at the time. I don't remember signing anything at all. Park cross-examined me aggressively, trying hard to paint me as vengeful and confused. But I had prepared for this moment. I remained calm, answered every single question directly and honestly, and never lost my composure or my cool. Isn't it true, Mrs. Chen, that you resent Tyler's marriage to Jessica? No, I resent Tyler stealing my life savings. That's what I resent. You've had arguments about his relationship with her, haven't you? We've had discussions, but this isn't about his choice of wife. This is about theft and fraud. Plain and simple. You're a lonely woman, aren't you? Living all alone. No close family besides Tyler. I'm content with my life, Mr. Park. Being independent and self-sufficient doesn't make me vindictive or mean. Park tried several more angles and approaches, but nothing stuck or worked. I had truth on my side. Facts. Then Tyler took the stand to testify. Park walked him through his version of events carefully. How worried he'd been about me and my health. How I'd asked him to help with my finances. How I'd been so happy and excited to help pay for his wedding. Tyler's performance was polished and smooth, sympathetic and believable. Then Michelle stood up for cross-examination. And everything fell completely apart for Tyler. Mr. Chen, you testified that your mother asked you to help manage her finances. When exactly did she make this request to you? Tyler hesitated, uncertain. It was ongoing. Over several months. Over time. Can you provide any documentation of this arrangement? Any emails, text messages, letters? It was verbal. All verbal conversations. You see. And the power of attorney papers. You said she signed them willingly in the hospital, correct? Yes, that's right. But the notary whose seal appears on those documents was in California that day. According to travel records, the hospital is in Oregon. How did that notary witness your mother's signature if they were in a different state? Tyler's face went pale and white. I don't know about that. Maybe there's a mistake in the records. Somebody made an error. A mistake. Michelle's voice was sharp as a knife. Or did you forge the notarization after obtaining your mother's signature under false pretenses? While she was sick and confused. I didn't forge anything, he said weakly. Mr. Chen, let's talk about the property sale now. Did you inform the buyers that the house had tenants living there with an active lease agreement? I thought they'd been notified by someone. By whom exactly? The real estate agent should have told them. You were representing yourself as the property owner with full authority to sell it. Didn't you have a responsibility and legal obligation to disclose all material facts to the buyers? Tyler was stammering now, contradicting himself. His polished story crumbling and falling apart under direct questioning. In the gallery, I saw Jessica's face go completely white, pale as a ghost. Michelle pressed even harder. Relentless. The truth is, Mr. Chen, you knew exactly what you were doing every step of the way. You forged documents. You sold property you didn't legally own. You stole your mother's life savings. And you did it all for one reason and one reason only. To fund your wedding and your new life with Jessica. Isn't that the truth? No, Tyler said desperately. I was helping my mother. That's all. She wanted to be robbed. She wanted to be made homeless. Objection. Park jumped to his feet. Argumentative, Your Honor. Sustained, the judge said firmly. But the damage was already done. Complete and total. The jury had seen Tyler panic under pressure. Seen him contradict himself repeatedly. Seen him exposed as a liar and a thief. When closing arguments ended, I felt a strange calm wash over me. It was over. Not the trial itself. The jury would still deliberate and decide. But my part in this nightmare was finished. I had told the complete truth, provided solid evidence, and refused to be manipulated or controlled. Whatever happened next was out of my hands completely. We all stood as the jury filed out to deliberate, to discuss and decide. Tyler turned to look at me one final time. His eyes were hollow, empty, defeated. I held his gaze steadily without looking away. This was the son I had raised with love. And this was the reckoning he had earned through his choices. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they returned to the courtroom, their faces were solemn but certain. Decided. On the count of grand theft, how do you find the defendant? Guilty. On the count of fraud, how do you find the defendant? Guilty. On the count of forgery, how do you find the defendant? Guilty. Tyler's face crumbled and collapsed. Jessica let out a choked sob. Cry. I sat perfectly still, motionless, feeling the weight of that single word echo through the courtroom again and again. Guilty. 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 The judge scheduled sentencing for 2 weeks later. Tyler was released on bail temporarily. But the reality had finally set in for him. He would go to prison. His life as he knew it was completely over. Finished. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. A crowd of them. Martin had warned me they would be there. The case had attracted a lot of local media attention and coverage. Elderly mother prosecutes son for theft. It made for compelling, dramatic headlines. Mrs. Chen, how do you feel about the guilty verdict? A reporter called out loudly. I stopped walking, considered carefully, then spoke clearly into the microphones. I feel that justice has been properly served. What my son did was criminal. He betrayed the person who loved him most in this world. And he must face the real consequences of that choice. Do you have any message for other families dealing with financial elder abuse? Yes, I do, I said firmly. You are not obligated to protect people who harm you, even if they're family, especially if they're family. Love without boundaries and limits is not real love. It's enabling bad behavior. Robert guided me quickly to his car and we drove away from all the chaos and noise. The sentencing hearing was brutal and painful to witness. The judge, a silver-haired woman named Judge Patricia Moore, listened carefully to impact statements from both sides. The Morrison family described the stress and fear of nearly losing their home. The buyers of the property described the financial nightmare and disaster Tyler had created for them. I described the betrayal, the violation of trust, the emotional devastation that cut so deep. Then Tyler's attorney presented his plea for leniency and mercy. Tyler himself stood up, his voice shaking and trembling, and apologized to everyone. This time his tears seemed real and genuine. Your Honor, I know I can never undo what I did. I can never take it back. I betrayed my mother, the woman who sacrificed absolutely everything for me her whole life. I let greed and terrible judgment destroy our relationship forever. I understand I must face punishment for what I did. I only ask for mercy, for a chance to eventually rebuild my life somehow, and someday somehow make amends to everyone I hurt. Judge Moore looked at him for a long, long moment. Her expression was completely unreadable. Blank. Mr. Chen, you didn't make a simple mistake, she said finally. You made a series of calculated, deliberate choices. You forged legal documents. You exploited your mother's serious illness for personal gain. You committed fraud against multiple parties and people. These weren't crimes of passion or desperation or necessity. They were crimes of entitlement and pure greed. She paused for effect. You showed absolutely no remorse until you were caught. Until the evidence was overwhelming. You threatened your mother when she sought justice through the legal system. You deserve no leniency whatsoever. She sentenced him to 8 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 5. Additionally, full restitution to me and the property buyers, plus court costs and penalties. The total came to over $220,000. Tyler collapsed into his chair, sobbing uncontrollably. Jessica sat frozen like a statue, her face a mask of complete horror. As the bailiff led Tyler away in handcuffs, he looked at me one last time. One final look. I met his eyes directly but said absolutely nothing. There was nothing left to say between us. Nothing at all. Thank you so much for watching my story all the way to the end. I really appreciate it.